brothers and sisters. I'm doing an important video to show how important it is to get out of Babylon the Great, Christendom, and what God will do to her very soon, and it's important to heed his warnings. So I will read something in the Bible to show that Babylon the Great is coming to its end. Revelation 17:1-3, which says, "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came to me and said, 'Come, I will show you how the famous prostitute is to be punished. That great city that is built near many rivers, the kings of the earth practiced sexual immorality with her. And the people of the world became drunk from drinking the wine of her immorality.' So the Spirit took control of me, and the angel carried me to the desert. There I saw a woman sitting on a red beast that had names insulting to God written all over it. The beast had 7 heads and 10 horns." And verse 18, "The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth." So that's basically what it is. The woman is Christendom, Babylon the Great, and she's actually rules over the kings of the earth. It's this beast that she sits on. It indicates that she's was always mixed with politics and has influenced this Christendom, Babylon the Great, known as the Harlot. Has always had influence throughout history, influencing kings. For instance, in 1215 AD, the Pope at that time forced the King John to sign the Magna Carta to increase the even influence of the church over nobility. It was only until Henry VIII saw the power of the Pope and didn't like it, where he actually dissolved all the monasteries and stole their wealth. And really quit. And that's why she's called, she practiced immorality with the kings of the earth, because to God religion should stay out of politics. And it says here that though that she's had influence in the past, it wasn't, and then she lost some interest, some influence over the world, and only until 1929, with the Lateran Pact, that the Vatican City was created, that the Pope once again is starting to have influence. But the Bible states that soon there will be a one world government with a one world religion headed by the Antichrist, and it warns of this, and that's in the Bible in Revelation chapter 17 verses 7. "Why are you amazed?" the angel asked me. "I will tell you the secret meaning of the woman and of the beast that carries her. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. That beast was once alive but lives no longer. It is about to come up from the abyss and will go off to be destroyed. The people living on earth, whose names have not been written before the creation of the world in the book of the living, will all be amazed as they look at the beast. It was once alive, now it no longer lives, but it will appear." This calls for wisdom. This is it. And understanding. The 7 heads and 7 hills. Isn't that Rome built on 7 hills? And that's exactly where the Vatican City, the head of the Christendom, or Catholic Church, is, where the Pope resides, on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 of them have fallen, 1 still rules, and the other one has not yet come. When he does come, he must rule only a little while. And the beast that was once alive but lives no longer, he itself is an 8th king, who is one of the 7 and is going off to be destroyed. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet begun to rule, but who will be given authority to rule as kings for 1 hour with the beast. You see, when this new world order, comes, the Antichrist will have power over this. The kings, these 10 kings, or kings of the earth. And it says here, and Satan will give authority to the beast, the Antichrist, of this one world religion. And it says here, these 10, all of them have the same purpose, and they give their power and authority to the beast. They will fight against the Lamb, but the Lamb, together with his called, chosen, and the faithful followers, will defeat them, because the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. So, and it goes on to say in Revelation chapter 17 verse 6, and I saw the woman, that's Babylon the Great, was drunk with the blood of God's people and the blood of those who were killed because they had been loyal to Jesus. And in 18 verse 24, Babylon was punished because of the blood of the prophets and of God's people was found in the city. Yes, the blood of all those who have been killed on the earth. See, Satan, he uses Christendom, Babylon the Great. It uses it. His purpose is to actually use Christendom, which is really counterfeit Christianity, the Catholic Church, to kill true Christians. And you can see throughout history, the Catholic Church were behind. Not only did they were behind the crucifixion of Christ, spreading that, but behind the Crusades. It says here in Crusades, they were in 1115 AD. The first of the Crusades began in 1095 when armies of Christians from Western Europe responded to Pope Urban II's plea to go to war against Muslim forces in the Holy Land. There were 9 Crusades in total. It was Pope, and the Pope was behind it. There were 9 Crusades in total, resulting in estimated 1.7 million deaths, including Christians, Jewish, Muslim, men, women and children. 1.7 million deaths, all because they wanted to capture the Holy Land. But not only that, there was the Roman Catholic Inquisition of 1184 to 1230 AD. In the name of Jesus Christ, Catholic priests mounted an enormous effort to kill all heretics, which suppressing heresy in Europe and Britain. Heretics ranged from people who disagreed with their policy, resulted in persecution and killing innocent Christians, resulting in 3,000 to 10,000 executions, and an additional 100,000 to 125 dying in prison as a result of torture and maltreatment. These weren't heretics, these were the true Christians. History has got it wrong. It's the Catholic Church is false Christianity. These were against the false teachings of the Church, but also the sole purpose was of the Christendom was really to, as I said, to kill the Jews and real true Christians, and also according to Alberto Rivera, an ex-Jesuit, he was told by a Cardinal B while he was in the Vatican that they in fact created Islam for the purpose of actually capturing Jerusalem and killing true Christians and also Jews. But also it's also said that the Vatican and the Pope was behind the Holocaust, in which millions of Jews were killed. It says here Pius the 12th actually signed a treaty that not only started World War One, he actually signed signed a treaty with Hitler in 1933, which actually with the purpose of trying to save the Catholic Church, because he believed, this Pope Pius XII, that he was afraid Russian communism would destroy the Catholic Church, so he signed a deal with Hitler. And you know what happened? How many millions of people died? I mean, and also especially Jewish people. And this Pope Pius XII, he was an anti-Semitic. And it says in chapter 17 of Revelation, verse 4, the woman was dressed in purple and scarlet. Isn't it true that a lot of the priests in the Roman Catholic Church wear purple and scarlet? And it goes on to say, and covered with gold ornaments, precious stones and pearls. The Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, is the richest denomination in the world, as well as the biggest religious denomination in the world. It's so wealthy that a banker estimates Vatican wealth to be about $10 to $15 billion, and invested in so many things, in banking, real estate, in steel, construction, all sorts of things. And in verse, it goes on to say, in verse 9, chapter 18, verse 9, about the kings of the earth mourning at her when she's destroyed, Babylon the Great, because they made a lot of money on her. Because it says here, the kings of the earth who took part in immorality and lust will cry and weep over the city when they see the smoke from the flames that consume her. They stand a long way off because they are afraid of sharing in the suffering. They say, how terrible, how awful this great and mighty city Babylon. Just 1 hour you have been punished. The businessmen of the earth also cry and mourn for her, because no one buys their goods anymore. No one buys their gold, silver, precious stones and pearls, their goods of linen, purple cloth, silk and scarlet cloth, all kinds of rare woods and all kinds of objects were made of ivory and expensive woods, of bronze, iron and marble and cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh and frankincense, wine and oil, flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and carriages, etc. etc. You can see, it says here, and the businessman says, the merchants say to her, all the good things you long to own have disappeared, and all your wealth and glamour are gone, and you will never find them again. The businessmen who became rich from doing business in that city will stand a long way off because they were afraid of sharing in her suffering. They will cry and mourn and say, how terrible, how awful for the great city. She used to dress herself in linen and purple and scarlet and cover herself with gold and with ornaments, precious stones and pearls, and in 1 hour has lost all her wealth. That should be a warning. She might look good on the outside, as Christ said. You look, and it says in Revelation chapter 14, verse 7, and it says, in her hand, Babylon the Great, the harlot, she held a gold cup full of obscene and filthy things, the result of her immorality. So a golden cup. So doesn't the priest look good on the outside? Look nice, dressed in white, a showy display, very rich, but on the inside full of filth and immorality. For instance, the Pope, he accepts and promotes, he accepts homosexuality, abortion, idolatry, a worship of idols, which is completely condemned in the Bible. It's meant to be the third commandment, yet they raised the third commandment so they can carry on worshipping idols. They observe Christmas and Easter, which is pagan, comes from ancient Babylon, and there's so many sexual abuse cases by priests and nuns, cover-ups. So as the Bible warns, in 1 hour it is no more. So please take heed of my warning, and you don't want to be destroyed when she falls to God's anger and repent through Yeshua's name and be saved. And please check out my second part to this. Thank you very much.